Hi, welcome to this unboxing video for a Voigtlander Bessa R4m along with a 35mm lens that I have for it, along with a lens hood and an eye cup and a diopter and a strap. So a variety of bits and pieces, hopefully all of which will fit together. So manual, multi-language as usual, and yes, thank goodness they've got it in Japanese, so I'm sorted. Two LR4 batteries, it'll run off SR44 batteries as well. Lens strap, camera strap. Won't actually use this, so I won't undo it. Here comes the camera. So here we have it, the Voigtlander Bessa R4m body. Here we have the top view with the rewinder knob here, the catch to release the back of the camera when loading and unloading the film, the frame line selector. On this particular camera we've got 2135, 28 and 2550. We have the hot shoe, the speed ring selector. At the present time it's set on a 60th of a second, and this is opposite the white indent which is on top of the hot shoe. To one side here we have a tiny window which you may or not be able to see, which is the film speed selector. Just pop that out a bit. That's set by raising the collar slightly, rotating around until the desired film speed is found, dropping it down, making sure it's caught inside the little clip. I'm actually setting this at 1600. Shutter release and film advance. Nice that the film advance lever will stay in this position so that when you're ready to cock for the next picture, it's easy to do that just by swiping your thumb off to the left. Or is that the right? Yeah, my left, your right. On the back of the camera here we've got a little built-out piece here which is for your right thumb, just to hold the camera with. We've got the viewfinder. At the moment it's got the standard uncorrected diopter inside of there. I'll be changing that shortly. Through here you might be able to see the fact that I've already got a film loaded. It's Ilford HP5, and then at the bottom here you've got this little plate here which you undo with a coin, which accepts the two LR44 batteries, the screw thread for the mounting plate for a tripod, the release switch to rewind the film. This is the spool that the film's collected onto, and a reminder that this camera is made by the Cosina company Limited in Japan. Come back over here again. There we go. So, the camera. Let's put that off to one side. Now, I did purchase a lens to go with this camera. For me the most useful one is going to be the 35mm f1.4. That's this. It's in the VM fitting, Leica fitting, which will fit perfectly onto this camera body. So we'll just take this out.
So here we have the Voigtlander 35mm f1.4 Nokton in a VM fitting. I'll just pop off the lens hood. There it is. Here we've got the aperture ring. It has two metal lugs on the sides to make it easy to change the aperture with one finger. On the top here you've got a black indent opposite which you set your aperture. So in this position it's set to f8. As you can see, it has half stops in between each full aperture, so you can change the aperture in half stops. One of the great things about this particular lens, it has a distance scale upon it. So once you've done your focusing from your selected aperture, you can determine what your depth of field is going to be, which of course is the key for taking photographs using the zone focusing technique for street photography and the like. So what I'll do next is just to marry up the two things together. Take off the rear cover. Here we need to depress that button, rotate anti-clockwise, and whoops, lift that off. It's a question then of lining up the red button on the outside of the lens with the red button on the camera. Just into position there, and then just rotate round until it clicks. You may have seen that pop out, and the camera now has its lens fully attached. The lens is beautiful metal quality, although it's quite small. It has a fair bit of heft about it, as indeed does the camera body. I never like shooting without a lens hood, which is why I'll just put that down there a minute. I purchased a lens hood to go along with this particular lens. So the 35mm f1.4 Nokton Classic requires an LH6 Voigtlander lens hood. That's what this is. Just crack this out. There we go. So, very nice metal lens hood, LH6, Voigtlander logo on the top. Little white button mark at the top there. So if we have a look at the top view of the camera here, this is the indent where you line up your aperture. If you line up the white mark with that ring there, in fact I'll lie it down to do this, like that. You need to press down slightly and rotate round clockwise, and you may not have been able to hear that, but once it's in the retained position, the lens hood clicks forward slightly and then it's locked in position. So in order to remove it, you need to press down slightly and rotate anti-clockwise to be able to remove it. So I'll leave it on, back on, press down, rotate, and we're in position. So camera, 35mm lens, and lens hood to fit. Now the other thing I prefer doing, because I'm a spectacle wearer, is to use a lens hood, and I purchased a lens hood to go on the viewfinder. This is the Nikon DK3. I'll just put that to one side again. Now this is cleverly constructed, and if you're able to see the shiny bit at the bottom there, the shiny bit is made out of hard plastic. The bottom bit is just rubber and is therefore flexible. Now, this is really useful because if we just place the camera here, I'll place the eye cup in position with the plastic part at the top. The rubbery bit at the bottom there has to be able to flex out of the way so that the eye cup does not impinge upon the opening of the door. I have actually purchased a -3 diopter to go with this lens as well, to go with this camera as well, because my eyesight needs that correction and because I prefer to shoot without my spectacles on. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate that to you now. So if I remove the current uncorrected diopter, it's got a very nice build feel to it, this has. It's got a nice rubbery outside, which means you can grab hold of it easily without having to mess up by putting your fingers onto the lens itself. Here we'll offer the eye cup into position with the hard bit at the top. And here is my -3 diopter. Drop that into place. And it's simply a question of trying to find the screw thread through the eye cup, and then being careful not to touch the diopter itself, just gently screwing the -3 diopter into position. And it does that. As it does that, it just captures the inside edge of the lens cup. Perfect. That's now on and in position. That's not going to drop off. So DK3 Nikon eye cup, -3 diopter, camera 35mm lens, LH6 lens hood. Did actually purchase a couple of other bits and pieces to go with this camera. One of those was this device, which is a Peak Designs wrist strap, which comes with an anchor. So I have mine on the right hand side of the body of the camera, threads through like that, pull tight, very clever design. This fits inside of this little slider. You press down on the button and it clicks into position. That's not going anywhere. The lanyard part of this is made out of extremely sturdy Dyneema. It's the same type of material that's found on very large kites. This particular one has 3 coatings to it. The outer black one, you'll probably use it forever and never be a problem, but there are some inner different coloured coatings which tell you whether you're wearing through the thing and therefore need to replace it. I don't anticipate ever having to do that. And the final item that I bought for this camera, other than film, was this. Just put that down out of the way a bit. Which is a shutter release mechanism. It's made by Hahnel, a few quid from Photographic. It's a standard size. Simply screws, because it's a universal fitting, into the top of the shutter release and depress to release the shutter, of course obviating any problems with camera shake. This thing also works for bulb settings as well, because there is a collar on this release here which, if it's rotated round, you can keep it in position for whatever length of time you wish before you then unwind it and it pops back out, releasing the shutter. So very simple, very cheap and very retro piece of kit, works well.